Welcome back to my real farm. Here I'm going to show you my one of my sprayers. Actually, I own this one, and we'll go around and show you the other one. There is my father's. We're getting them ready for spring here. This one I do two things with. I can actually put on my liquid nitrogen in the springtime, which is our nitrogen fertilizer, which helps the corn grow mostly. Soybeans will actually nodule, the little basically bacteria in the soil and on their roots will actually produce their own nitrogen, or enough for them to grow. But corn is a grass plant. It's basically a relative to the grass plant. It needs nitrogen to grow. And if we don't put nitrogen on it, it won't grow. There's not enough in the soil right now. Now you got to remember, an acre is 43,560 square feet. That's a lot of land for 140 pounds of nitrogen. So it's droplets out there, but that's all the corn needs to grow and help. And we dig that in the soil to protect it from denitrification, which is the sun and the rain changing it back into atmospheric nitrogen and raising up into the air, or leaching and going down into the soil and then going to our water system. So by all that residue you saw out there, that's what that does. That keeps that nitrogen in the soil. The high organic matter keeps it there for the corn plant to use. But these big tires here help me go through the rough terrain. Even though we level it, it's still pretty rough out there. And then we have another set of tires they call flotation tires we put on this, and we can go out when it gets muddy or wet in the springtime, so we can keep going and keep our fertilizer on. The fertilizer that we put on, like I said, this one here is nitrates or nitrogen fertilizer. You hear a lot of bad things about nitrates. Nitrogen's our #1 occurring element in the whole planet. I mean, you breathe more nitrogen than you do oxygen. This is safe fertilizer. It goes into the ground, it stays there for the most part, and our corn uses it. Our corn plants use so much fertilizer to grow to get the yields we have. We're not losing it. It's not going into your water. You hear stories about dirt running off, and you have all this fertilizer going down the Mississippi River. Most of that is not agriculture fertilizer. I mean, you have events, of course, there are 9-inch rain events, there's things like that. But this stuff we put in, and that tillage I showed you, that keeps that fertilizer there for our soil profile, we call it. The conservation programs were set up for soil conservation, basically to keep the nutrients in soil so we can produce a crop to raise a safe, plentiful food supply for the United States and the world. And when we put on these nutrients, all we're doing is replacing nutrients that Mother Nature took or put there that we took away from our crop. We're not adding extra. It's not running down the hill into the creek. We can't run into the sprayer. When you fold out, that boom is 90 feet wide. It allows us to do more with less, using less fuel, and taking time. Time is important for farming. In the field, we have a short window to get our crop in and get our fertilizer on. If you look up on top, there's a little globe, and both sprayers, we'll show you this other one here in a second, have it. That's our GPS, and what we use that for is to stay on track. And we have they call global positioning systems. When we go across the field, we have either straight track, curved track, or parallel tracking. So every 90 feet, there's a line on the earth, imaginary line that goes into my computer that lets me stay on. So I spread only 90 feet. So I don't overlap and over-apply chemicals and fertilizer, and I save time. Both these two rigs here have it. Hope you learned a little bit more about how we protect the land and fertilize our plants to raise our crops for the world's food supply. And thank you for joining me today.